lost, you cannot do. Give yourself a lost, you cannot fail. Try it forever, you cannot do. Give yourself a lost and try it forever. Try it forever and do it again. Self lost, you can feel it. Give yourself lost, you can do it. Give yourself lost and try it forever. Night, you are so big. Night, you are so sick. Night, you are everywhere. Night, you are so black. Give yourself lost and do it again. Give yourself lost, you cannot do. Give yourself lost and try it forever. Try it forever, you can do. Give yourself lost, you cannot feel it. Feel it again and do it again. Night, you are so big. Night, you are so sick. Night, you are everywhere. Night, you are so black. Give yourself a last and do it again. Give yourself a last, you cannot do. Give yourself a last and try it forever. Give yourself a last, you cannot feel. Give yourself a last and do it again. Do it again, you cannot do. Night, you are so big. Night, you are so sick. Night, you are everywhere. Night, you are so black. Give yourself a lost and do it again. Give yourself a lost, you cannot do. Give yourself a lost and try forever. Try forever, you cannot do. Give yourself a last and try it again. Try it again, you cannot do. Come on.
the Drive-In Asylum double feature, the infamous third segment after a tremendous evening of watching the Pom Pom Girls and now Tintorera Killer Shark, or it should have actually been Shark Killer.
Yeah, Shark Killers. Yeah.
So yeah, that movie probably would have been a lot more enjoyable if they had not been murdering sharks in every other scene. I think I don't know, because we were wondering, why were they doing this? Like, why was this? But it was a resort thing, wasn't it? Like the resort was encouraging this to keep the sharks from actually like wandering in to where their lovely lagoon was.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. As we also saw, that finally it just got into that lagoon and it did damage. And the father came and said, "Nobody here knows what they're doing."
Which music did you mean, Eldon Glenn? The Dancers was Nitoed by Kleenex, a Swiss punk rock band from the late 70s, whose name became Lilliput when Kleenex complained. And that comeback, or the trailer rather, that music was Heat by the Drowning Craze.
Next week, or not next week, the week after next, 2 weeks from now, Vengeance of the Zombies will be our first movie, and it's a double Paul Nashi night. So our second movie will be Count Dracula's Great Love.
Your microphone's really super low again.
Oh, gosh darn it. Hold on. How's that? Is that better?
It's a little better, yeah.
Let me see. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Why don't you say next week's movies again?
Next week's movies again, for those of us who could not hear me on the quiet mic, Vengeance of the Zombies, and we're also going to be doing Count Dracula's Great Love, a double Paul Nashi extravaganza coming up. And thanks to Tim Dortch for sponsoring this week's episode. You can always sponsor an episode by sending any amount of money to groovydoom@gmail.com. Hundreds preferred, but we'll take $1.
We're
But
thinking
anyway,
more like between $2 and $5.
I know, I'm just kidding. But if you're rich, you hit the lottery, you hit a scratch off.
Yeah.
How about Miguel's head inside that shark's mouth?
Oh, what happened to Fiona Lewis too, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think her head was hanging out of its mouth too.
Yeah.
That shark had bad manners.
The shark was a mean person. He also like held her feet up. He was like, you could start her legs like shaking up in the air. But we got to say that Miguel and Steven both had got a lot of women, and I guess that's the moral of the story. He taught him to live life in the moment, and I guess that's the moral of this story, if there is one, because we don't know when a shark will eat our head tomorrow. So you should live, love. At least Miguel's penis didn't get eaten. We got to see Miguel's penis.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And there's no way those two dudes weren't touching each other, nor were they going one at a time. It needs to be said. I'll be the one to say it. There was a lot of like, you go first. That's not how that worked. Also, I don't think Susan
really
George,
isn't it? Isn't it?
I don't know. I've never been in this situation, but Susan George's character had been in this situation before, because no one comes up with those rules off the bat. She knew it was up enough to buy rings. Special rings were made for this. We're never going to fall in love. This has only been 3 weeks. There's a lot to unpack in that relationship, but you know what? They did it, and they were happy with their triangle. And what Bill and I'm going to speak for Bill. I think probably our happiest moment was the disco end of this, the credit music, where if you just watch those credits with that disco music, you might have thought that someone had just watched a romantic comedy, not a movie where a man's head was in a shark's mouth and numerous real sharks were killed. It seemed like such a goofy madcap comedy as they explored the pyramids and had a local woman take their picture.
I want to know where she got those rings.
Oh,
I totally want to know because
I think
she's
she
just
she
kind of
had
like,
those from the start. She came to Mexico
yeah,
for some DVDA.
but they fit.
Mm.
I mean, a ring is a very particular thing. You can't just like
When they were
pick a
sleeping,
size.
she took their measurements and
Hmm.
for their ring fingers.
Right.
Yeah,
She was an original plaster caster,
she
except
was.
she
Yeah,
cast their fingers.
yeah. She's like, I can't even imagine. She went to some jeweler and she was like, some jewelry maker. And she was like, so I am dating two men. They are shark killers, and and I need a ring for my pinky and a ring for each of them. And he was like, yeah, okay, sure. Maybe that happened a lot there. Just perhaps you're right, Jenny.
Laura, Laura says as long as there's a chick in the middle, it's not gay. I don't know, Laura. I was getting total vibes from these two. They were the couple.
Yeah.
That was the whole gist of it, was that like Hugo and Andres Garcia were the couple and they just weren't into other guys. So they're like, well, now we have like a third and a woman. So now it's okay. Now we can enjoy it.
To build on what Mike Justice is saying, because he and I have discussed this several times. How many of her friends did she show these pictures? And they're like, who are those two men? Oh, they're just some friends. And well, to tell the truth, we dated for 3 weeks, and one of them was eaten, and his head was in a shark's mouth. And I watched it happen. There was blood all over the water, and Stephen got in the boat before he saved me. He got in the boat first and then pulled me in. It would, I know you're supposed to put the
Yeah.
oxygen mask on first, but that seemed kind of strange. But yeah, yeah, he tried to move on, and we got to say Jennifer's character in this is all about getting other people naked. Uh, Also, the other thing I want to talk about is how do you have sex in those hammocks? They like were getting in the hammocks, and those hammocks seem very unwieldy, even for one person to sleep in. I agree with Jenny though. The boys are the ones that are getting mad, and the women are the more advanced. They're like, you know, they know what's up. They're here at
Right.
they're here at this hedonistic resort. You know what I mean? They're not here for a long time. They're here for a good time.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Like these must all be very wealthy people because he can afford to rent that yacht that's anchored just offshore, and everybody else seems to be able to just stay there for as long as they want.
Susan George has been there for at least 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah,
what else is she doing? The Jennifer and her sister, their dad, they just fly down on a moment's notice. This is
yeah, that's true.
this isn't Sandals. This isn't like an all-inclusive $800 resort. This is an expensive resort. And everybody gets together and drinks green tea out of a conch shell at night.
So that was her sister.
Yeah, she said in the movie that that's who played her sister.
Okay.
So, but yeah, her and her sister swap dudes. There's a lot going on. The 70s were wild, right? Like all venereal diseases had been solved. There had not yet been AIDS, and they're like anything went. You know,
It was, yeah.
it
And
was
you weren't even in America, so what happens in Mexico stays
yeah,
in Mexico.
yeah, and but my other favorite part of this movie of watching this with you when you commented on Fiona Lewis's bush when she was underwater,
Stop.
it was intense. That shark was like, you know what? I'm a Brazilian shark and I can't have this. I can't.
She was, yeah. That could have kept her afloat.
Yeah. That's why she didn't swim away fast enough. That's why swimmers shave that. She was stuck. So sadly. Yeah, this movie does not shy from both human violence. Those definitely are corpses getting eaten and shark violence. So yeah. But if you don't like this, don't watch Beaks, another Cardona movie or Night of a Thousand Cats, which just has cats being launched every direction. Mexico, if you've ever read Mexican murder magazines, they really don't care about anything. They're
Well,
like
at least they're
yeah,
not killing the cats with hooks like they were in
no,
this movie, though. I mean, that was like pretty gratuitous.
Yeah, I know. They're like, that's my other question. It's like, why were they, so they were hooking the sharks, and they're like, why didn't they take? Did they have to take them to shore to prove that they got them, or they weren't
I
paid
don't
for them?
know.
So, like nobody was making money from this. You know what I mean?
One of the seven wonders of the world, says Eldon Glenn. I have to agree.
Yeah,
Tintorera. This was kind of a hard movie to find for a long time. And I
yeah.
started to get into killer shark movies there in like I guess like the late 90s. I was running out of killer shark movies and I went sniffing around for something I hadn't seen yet. And this was one of them. And I think I had to order it from like one of those services like Sinister Cinema
Mm.
or something like that. And um or I was going to, and then I saw on the IMD message board, they're like, "Oh no, don't, because it's gonna come out on DVD now. It's gonna be like the Mexican cut, so you're gonna see the whole thing." I was like, "Wow, I've been waiting all my life to see the whole thing." You know what I mean? And Tintorera showed it to me.
We did a whole shark issue of Driving Asylum at one point, and this was in there, as well as many other lovely shark movies. Oh, there it is, the shark special. That's one of my favorite issues. I love that issue.
This is one of our biggest issues.
Yeah.
I think this has more pages than any other issue that we've done. And this happens to be the last copy in the Groovy Doom
Oh,
shop on Etsy. There's only one left.
you could get it if you're
You
watching the show.
could.
Like, I'd really like to get those trading cards that are in there of famous shark hunters.
Oh, trading cards, you say?
Yeah.
I hope it's on the middle. Of course it isn't. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I know that there's one of Squint from Great White.
This is some of your finest work, Sam Panica.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah,
Magnificent.
famous shark hunters.
Yes. Collect them all. Okay, it's not really a set of trading cards.
Right there.
Use your imagination.
Yeah. We watched Jaws on the 4th of July and Jaws 2 and 3, which is traditional. And this movie doesn't follow anything that Jaws does. And that's kind of why I like it versus other Jaws ripoffs. Like Great White
Yeah.
is, very there's a whole big section, as Jenny said, that you just kind of forget that you're watching a shark movie. You're like, oh, this is suddenly turned into a movie about an advanced relationship that maybe not everybody would understand.
That's not what the movie's about. Yeah, the shark.
Yeah.
That's just sort of like something that happens every once in a while.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Their relationship, the two men that have a relationship together, Steve and Miguel, is based around dangerous things, whether it's being with the same woman or killing the same sharks.
Yeah.
But like they need that other thing to be between them so they don't admit their love for one another.
Maybe they don't have to admit anything. That's just what they get off on, They're
Yeah.
like it's about the two of them, but they have this strange way of expressing it.
Yeah. They do. And you know what? Who are we to judge? I'm not going to
It's very much like The Creature from the Black Lagoon, the two male leads who like have this weird sexual tension between the two of them for the entire movie.
Yeah.
That's a lot, and it's an underwater monster movie too. So there you go.
Sometimes the subtext is just the text, huh?
Right. It's right there on the surface in this one.
Yeah. Literally the surface of the water. But the music's great in this too. Like, why is there no soundtrack of this out there so we can just play these beautiful love ballads from this movie?
I hope there is. Yeah, I love that one where they're out having their throuple afternoon taking pictures
Yeah.
on what looks like a site where if they went inside, the blind dead would attack them.
Yeah. It really feels like that they're getting ready to get into some kind of zombie hijinks in that scene. There is a sequel to this movie, La Furia Asina, which is a shot on video version. It is about researchers trying to find out how to cure AIDS through sharks. It is not, it has no sex in it. Therefore, I don't feel as if it's a real sequel. It does have a lot of butt shots in it, though. There's, the Mexicans do enjoy the cabeza, the caboose. But anyway, it's okay, but it's not as good as this.
What's it got to do with this one?
It's the same director. So
I know, but other than that, like, why
and
is
sharks
it a sequel?
and sharks. So they're like, from the maker of it. So it kind of fits into it.
It's got nothing to do with this.
Nothing. It's just a cash in. It's, but isn't that what exploitation's all about? This print though that was on, I went back to puberty to say that this print that was on YouTube looked gorgeous, especially the underwater. Well, not all the underwater footage was gorgeous, but the scenes of the fish swimming around and stuff were very gorgeous.
Oh yeah. And again, that didn't look very good. Like on the VHS transfer.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
How about when in the lagoon near the end where the shark makes the attack? How much blood does one human body have in it? Right?
That was a little much.
It was a lot of blood.
I mean, it was dark too.
Yeah, it was.
I know the blood is dark, but I mean, like, that was just really strange looking blood, and it was everywhere in the water. Was there more than one victim, or was it just?
I think just one, but they had
Jennifer Ashley's sister.
Yeah, she just had a lot of blood in her. They're like,
check it and see.
Yeah, exactly. Got a fever of 103 if she was out in the water. Yeah, Jennifer Ashley's experience a lot different. She's going to tell people, her character will be like, well, my sister and I were swapping down in Mexico, as we do, because we have daddy issues.
Yeah.
And then one of the men was killed, but he was in a throuple at the time, so we hadn't seen him for 3 weeks. And then when the other one, when Steve came back and he got with both of us again, my sister was eaten by a shark. What about your father? Well, he came down to rescue me because no one here knows what they're doing. So really, her life's a little screwed up too. Not as much as Susan George telling everyone she knows in England all about it.
Well, now whenever Jennifer Ashley's dad dies, she's going to get everything. Her character.
Oh yeah, exactly.
When the father dies, she's going to get everything, and she would have had to share it with her sister before
but as we learn, she does not have problems sharing with her sister. She's the one that initiates a lot of this because she tells her sister, "Hey, go get in the hammock."
She likes it.
Yeah, get in the hammock, and they're in full view of each other, so it's soft swinging too.
What about Priscilla Barnes? Like, blink and you miss her.
Yeah, exactly. She was not. I'm sure everybody had fun making this. I mean, you got to be in paradise and make this.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. I mean, then a shark comes to the actual. Yeah, it's like the bad mojo of being in a movie where numerous sharks were killed. Feels like a shark curse would happen.
You'd find an idol on the beach and you'd put it on like a necklace, and then all this bad stuff would start to happen.
We should start rumors about this. This was a cursed movie. We should ask Jennifer, is this a cursed movie because the shark was killed in it?
Yeah.
Or the human beings. People were upset about Poltergeist having skeletons in it. And that's what led this to be cursed. There were corpses getting eaten by sharks that were later killed in this. If talking about Mexican movies can't be cursed, right? Obviously, like they're like, no, everybody was fine after this.
Clearly.
Yeah. One of them's still alive. She was on the show tonight. So, everything worked out.
I don't know what happened to Priscilla Barnes, Laura. I'm really confused about where she is. She's one of the women that's on the truck.
Yeah.
And they're hitchhiking. Is that in this version? I'm not sure if she was actually in this version, to be honest.
She's in it very briefly at one point too. But yeah, it's like she's like blink and you miss it. Jenny has a good theory that maybe sharks only attack people who bone the shark killer because they're into him. Do they also love the shark killers? Is there a thin line between love and hate? Or do they hate the people having sex with the shark killer? you can read into this however you'd like.
Sharks don't understand human relationships. They eat their own children as soon as they're born.
Mm.
They're survivors.
Yeah. Perfect killing machines. Apex predators. What if, since we're a tiger shark, came to Amityville? What would happen then?
Wasn't there already an Amityville shark?
No, but Amity from Jaws.
Oh, to Amity Island.
Yeah, Amity Island.
Oh.
There is an
Bruce-
Amityville shark, though. Yes, there is. Of course.
There would have to be a bigger shark that would suddenly rise out of the depths to come eat the Amityville shark if it tried to intrude on Jaws, or the Tintorera if it tried to intrude on Jaws territory.
And then that's when it turns into Meg 3.
Don't get any ideas, Tintorera. It's not going to be good.
It's not going to be good. Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a movie like this before or since that completely confounds your expectations of what you're about to watch. Like, there had to be people that took their kids, like my kids love shark movies, and they took them to this, and they were confronted by a whole bunch of different stuff that they probably weren't ready to discuss with their or dating. Like, did you like Jaws? There's this new Jaws movie playing. They said it's even better in Jaws, and they went and there you go. One of the things I was thinking about when I watched Jaws is I do love Harry, the guy with the bad hat, the old guy who gets out of the water, and he's like, "We know all about you," and he's just like, "That's a really bad hat, Harry." It's great. Like, what a great line. You don't like to get in the water, do you? Also, I love the scene where the town council has to take him out on that. They have to go out into the water to tell him what's going on. You know what I mean? To have that little meeting. They can't have it around anyone.
Right, yeah.
They didn't shut the beaches down in this. Like, that's what the dad brings that up. He's like, so you knew that there was this shark in the water and you still just let people swim. Well, we were going to take care of it.
I never even expected them to close the beach. Like, who would close the beach because of that?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that many people were in the water. They were in each other's cabanas, right? I don't think people were too into swimming or anything outside of these two lunatics that are out there willing. Could you say that them killing all these sharks was what was causing this? Like, you know what I mean? The sharks were not enraged yet, and then
absolutely,
you killed like 20 of our kind in
3
weeks. But was there a drop off of shark killing once they got into this throuple? The sharks were like, "Oh, we really feel that we're safe," and they're like, because they're banging on that boat all the time. Like, you know what? We should really impress Susan George some more, and she can come underwater. She seems like kind of put off by it at first, but then I
don't know why she didn't just turn around and leave when she discovered that this was what they did, because it was kind of gross, and she watched it, like she saw it happen.
Can you imagine? You're like, I thought that I picked the two right guys to be to double team me, and I didn't realize that they got off on each other and killing sharks.
That's true. Like, maybe she was just like, well, this is working so far, so I'll just pretend that nothing happened.
Yeah. I think sometimes when you're like everything else is working in a relationship, you know what I mean? You have one of those moments where maybe I should gloss over this for a little bit, but then months down the road, you're like, God, I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like if they had stuck together, that's the other cut I want to make. I want to make one where like they all survived the shark and now they're all in their 70s and they're still in this triad. And they're like, she's kind of like, would you guys please stop killing sharks? And like, you've known us for so long. This is what we do.
I wonder if the shark hadn't eaten Miguel, like how much longer could that relationship have continued?
Yeah. Or would the guys eventually realize they didn't need her?
The guy who works for the resort who disappears from you mean the annoying Def Leppard guy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bill's like, I hope that guy dies.
He should have been eaten a lot earlier. Well, he never got eaten. I was disappointed.
Also, did you notice when Steve has only eggs on his boat, and whenever they go shopping, they just buy 2 cases of 2 cases of booze, and they have J and
Alright.
B too. So is this a Jalo?
Oh,
Uh,
it is. It's a
yeah,
shark giallo.
shark Jalo. But they literally just buy all these bottles, and like they're just throwing boxes of bottles at each other on the boat. Something else, I will say.
Andres Garcia was super hot.
Yeah,
I don't know. He's not normally my type either.
yeah,
It's not really the kind of guy that I notice. But I guess it was because he went full frontal that I was
yeah,
forced to take notice. And yeah, I think I'd be in a throuple with him and somebody else. Aldo Ray,
yeah.
me, Aldo Ray, and Miguel.
Ooh, if
It
you
could
had a
happen.
pick you would pick Miguel of our 2 leads.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Never Hugo Stiglitz.
Never Hugo Stiglitz. You don't like the curly mop hair.
I don't know. There's just something about him I don't like.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not attracted either, but I can see the appeal of Miguel. He's just, better looking, less afraid to. He'll show off. So,
He was uptight. That's what I didn't like about him.
yeah,
He did get a little more loose though, but then he got vindictive and vengeful. He couldn't
vengeful.
just turn around and go home and be like, you know what? I'm not going to be where sharks can eat me or
Yeah,
my friends.
I brought this on myself, and I ruined the only good
Yeah.
throuple I'll ever have. But I say the only good throuple he'll ever have, but it seems like he gets right into another one with 2 sisters. So
Oh, there will be more
yeah, there'll be more. You can't
for
go
him,
back after this.
for Steven
Yeah, see,
Esteban.
yeah, Esteban. Miguel's teeth are perfect, Laura. I will give you that. There's one scene where like they showed his teeth and they were so white. I was like,
Yeah. It looked like a piece.
yeah,
You know, it just looked like dentures.
yeah, but very white. Uh,
Oh,
anyways,
Steve Wilson commented, it reminds me I'm supposed to spoil Maxine.
oh yeah, please do.
Well, before she dies, Maxine is the killer. No, I thought it was really good. Uh, it's my favorite of the 3 movies. I really was not blown away by X or Pearl.
Mhm.
It's more like I just like that they exist. They're not terrible, but and I'm not gonna buy Maxine when it comes out on home video either, or Blu-ray or whatever, UHD. Uh, just a file. You know, it's very stylish. It's of a certain type of movie. It's very 1980s sex thriller, with not really any kind of sexy sex in it. It's really
So it's not body double, is what you're saying.
no, no. Although there is a lot of body double in it. There's a scene where somebody goes up to a house in the Hollywood Hills on an incline,
Oh.
and I was like, oh well, that's kind of like body
Isn't it
double.
kind of mind blowing that people hated Body Double when it came out? Like it got savaged by critics, and you're like, that movie's really good.
The critics just don't understand, man.
No,
You know, like
man.
it's Frankie Goes to Hollywood. You know,
I
why
know.
would you fuck with Holly Johnson? You can't have Holly Goodbody or whatever her name
Holly
was.
Body, yeah.
Melanie Griffith doing a sexy dance in the dark, and then there's somebody else that she's impersonating, and it's all very convoluted. It's
Oh,
beautiful.
wonderful. Oh, so I'm glad we watched this. Glad it seems like everybody enjoyed it, other than Def Leppard guy. Maybe if we make a remake of this, or we look back in on these characters as we've threatened to do several times, uh, maybe maybe he'll die in that movie. Also, I speaking of Prophecy Bear, Bill, I wore my Prophecy Bear shirt.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, what shirt should I wear? And I was like, oh, Prophecy Bear, you need to get worn.
She's gonna find you.
She will.
She's
Like her,
looking
and
for you.
I have my Slithis card in my wallet to protect me.
Prophecy Bear does not look at any cards.
No,
She just kills you right
I
away.
love it. Like right before Slithis goes to kill you, you have to get your wallet out and be like, I have my Slithis card. Please don't kill me. I paid 50 cents for this. and slow this
Eldon Glenn,
slow.
you could probably see Maxine first, but to really understand who she is and why any of it matters, you would kind of have to see X at least.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Pearl, you don't really have to see.
No.
Dun dun dun. I got some stuff to show,
Oh yeah.
and you're
Whoa.
gonna love it.
I love
Look
this.
at these three, these three culprits.
Man. I love the type on the Beast Must Die where they just like we're writing a ransom note.
Yeah, everything except the B matches.
Yeah.
It's a
Good.
statement.
Yeah. Very Sex Pistols.
Go on, Vivi.
$150. Wow.
Yeah, I know. For all three of these classic movies.
It's a great triple feature.
Marlena Clark is in The Beast Must Die.
Mm-hmm. What a night. Oh. Wow. I love this movie.
I know. This movie is amazing.
I would also like to see the movie the posters for, which is not the movie, but
Yeah,
but
totally not the movie.
I do like this movie a lot. It's just scuzzy. It feels sweaty and dirty.
You might believe that impulse has something to do with exorcism or the devil
Yeah.
when you see this,
No,
but it's not true.
no, it's about a crazy guy who has insurance scams.
Yeah. You know, like as one does.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. This is related to our guest tonight, Jennifer Ashley, who
Yeah.
had a small role in Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah.
Nora wants to know when we're going to do a triple feature and how much she has to send via PayPal.
Ooh.
Oh, Sam.
Mm.
She's daring us.
Everybody does have a price, and we do.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to skip ahead for it. Do you want to look at Seizure instead?
I mean, it's Oliver Stone's first script.
Mm-hmm. Poor Jonathan Frid.
Yeah.
Nothing happened for his career.
Nope. I love the look of Seizure, though. It's feels like it's vibrating. I love it. What a strange movie. How much, Nora asked Bill? That's a good question.
I don't know, Nora. We're going to have a secret meeting and decide. Mainly, you have to buy us enough stimulants to keep us awake that long.
Yeah. Scum of the earth.
See the real poor white trash. You know what movie this is, right?
Mm-mm.
This is S.F. Brownrigg's
Yeah.
Scum of the Earth.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Eventually known as Poor White Trash Part 2.
Yeah, because I knew it was Poor White Trash too. Okay. Wow. How would you? That's so weird to put creatures that the world forgot with it. Like what? This is such a SF Brownrigg movies are so. What do you call it? I'm trying to think of it. Singular. It's so weird to put. What do you pick to put with it? John, what did you think of the Were Jaguar movie that you played?
Yeah, really.
That's coming out from Severin this week. I can't wait. I just saw what the new print looks like, Bill, and it looks amazing. Because if you've ever seen the VHS one, it's horrible. So you'll actually know what's going on in that movie, The Mummy and the Curse of the Jackals.
Well, I'm so glad that The Mummy and the Curse of the Jackals got a nice, respectful transfer.
Yeah, I like that it got this treatment that some movies will never have, and it's like this movie that it's a mess.
Look, it's the worst episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker ever. The werewolf episode, and they totally don't tell you anything about a werewolf in that description.
No, they sure don't. Oh.
I never really understood Kung Fu.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Bruce Lee, and that would have made too much sense. And we probably should have a white guy because there's, I was gonna say Hollywood was racist. They still are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, as a kid, I didn't get it. I was like, well, who is he? Why is he
Yeah.
always like
Kane. Yeah.
wandering? Like,
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I never liked it. I did like how he burned the tattoos into his wrist. That's about all I liked of it. Mm.
oh, Mike Justice, isn't that called something else? The Puma Man?
You know,
It's called Night Creature,
oh, is
I
it?
believe.
Who man? It's Jean-Pierre Simon
Hmm,
directed it,
maybe I'm thinking of
didn't
something
it?
else.
Or no, Albert DiMartino. That's who did it. Sorry. Yeah, the Puma Man. Donald Pleasance said it's the worst movie he ever made. Oh,
Remember that time it invaded these 3 theaters in Phoenix? Well,
which
here's
live
evidence.
is this? Is this the baby one or is this the '60s one?
No, it's the baby one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is the original ad campaign that it had when it was released in 1974.
Mm.
And I don't know whether it did poorly in 1974, I guess, or whether they just thought, well, here's a movie that a lot of people haven't seen. We're going to re-release it in 1977 and we're going to create a new ad campaign. And then suddenly it was a hit.
The ad campaign in '77 was terrifying though.
Yeah.
As a kid, like seeing that, knowing that something horrifying was inside that baby crib. Um, I couldn't be in the same room when it played. Like I was so upset by it.
It was scary.
Yeah,
There was only one thing wrong with the Davis baby. It's alive.
I love that type. Whoa.
Yeah. So let this wash over your brain.
Yeah.
Sex Demon, a gay porn film
Yeah.
playing at the Ramrod Male Theater. And how much do I like the lettering for that Ramrod
Ah,
logo, Sam?
I think Vinegar Syndrome, their side label, what is it, Methylene, put out Sex Demon
Yeah,
recently.
I really want to see it now after I found these ads.
Yeah.
And here, right next to it, was this teaser from Beyond the Door that I've never seen before.
Now, do you like that Jiminy Cricket, the writer director of Sex Demon, will be in person
Mm-hmm.
on stage? Yeah. Before there's what does that say? Oh, daily. I thought it said Gaiety Male Burlesque. There's man, the Ramrod's got a lot going on. But that Beyond the Door ad is beautiful with that cross. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it was right there in the porn section. There were other
yeah.
porn films being advertised,
Oh,
but the fact that this also concerned a demon really kind of I don't really understand the whole horror porn angle other than it's just
no.
like a cute contrivance for
Well,
a porn film.
Devil and Miss Jones was such a big deal too that
Yeah.
you know, probably I haven't seen Sex Demon, but if it's close to it, um, you know. It's interesting that Beyond the Door is near the adult movies because I wonder if they were trying to get people to think that it was like a Beyond the Green Door kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, because it feels like an even more exploitation name. Mm, love it.
Well, anyway,
Hey, I got stuff in the mail.
let's see it.
So we have first. This is an Arrow set. This is the Nico Masternikis box set, Bill. It's got Sky High, Ninja Academy, Naked Truth, a lot of stuff. I'm super excited about that set. Also from uh, Arrow, The Man from Uncle, the remake, and Redline 7000. And then this came from MVD, and this is The Linguini Incident with Roseanne Arquette and David Bowie, which I've never seen. So that's pretty cool. And that's what came in the mail this week. I'll be watching those this week. Also, if you guys come to the site, this week is all CBS late night movies and trying to hit
Late night movie?
late movie. Sorry, I know. Like today, for example, Wicked Dreams of Paula Schultz, Zabriskie Point, The Red Spider, Dracula AD 1972. Tomorrow, Crash, which we showed on the show, Kill and Kill Again, Curse of the Black Widow, which we showed on the show. The Loneliest Runner, the movie where that kid runs home to find his sheets being hung up.
Michael Landon.
Michael Landon, based on his real life. Yeah. Man, a lot of stuff on the Night of Dark Shadows, Great Alligator, The Psychic, The People Next Door. CBS Late Movie played a lot of awesome stuff. And then also this week, more something weird stuff I talked to Bill about earlier, but Psyched by the 4D Witch and Monsters Crash Pajama Party, Teenage Strangler, Zodiac Killer, Body Shop. A lot of crazy stuff this
The
week.
Body Shop.
The Body Shop, yeah. And The Legend of McCullough's Mountain, which is a wild film that was like a 1975 remake, not remake, but re-edit of a 1965 movie, and it which starred a horror host from Atlanta, and the woman who took over Groucho Marx's estate and psychologically abused him. It's something else,
Bummer.
and it's very much like a Boggy Creek kind of movie. Those will be on the site this week.
Is The Body Shop directed by the same guy that did Blood Freak?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I
I think
haven't
those
seen it
movies are
yet.
connected because there was a double feature of them that played a couple different theaters in the mid 70s.
The movies this week are Something Weird movies. The top 50 Something Weird movies is collected by Bleeding Skull. The ones that they thought their releases that were the best. The other movie that I had up today, Bill, was Uranga, Ouanga. It's a voodoo movie from '39, and supposedly, and this feels like horror movie bullshit. This movie was cursed because the prop master stole a skull and part of an altar from a voodoo ritual, and numerous cast members were killed from yellow fever, and a barracuda killed one.
A barracuda?
A barracuda. Hey, Thomas C says, "Hey guys, just discovered your channel today. Good stuff so far. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it. Hope you'll stick around and come back in 2 weeks when we're back for Vengeance of the Zombies and Dracula's Great Love, 2 Spanish Euro horrors, which are Bill. I wore my Spanish Euro horror shirt the other day that has all the Nashi movies we saw at the drive-in, and it reminded me of how great that night was.
I don't think we saw Vengeance of the Zombies that night.
We didn't. We saw Count Dracula's Great Love, and I remember being super excited about that.
As I mentioned on the first segment or the second one, I can't remember. Vengeance of the Zombies was also released in the United States as Walk of the Dead, and it had an unbelievable ad campaign that sort of like positioned it as another. It was like a totally different movie, and they had fake movie stills shot with actors in scenes that do not exist in Vengeance of the Zombies, and they shipped this to theaters and set it up, and they had a gimmick where there was a woman or multiple characters dressed as zombies who would appear in the middle of a city and walk around with placards that said Walk of the Dead.
Also a Siskel and Ebert Dog of the Week.
That's right. Yeah, it was. And they called it out for being an old movie repackaged and presented as new.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, you are so smart.
Yeah.
Siskel and Ebert.
Also, they really made it seem in the ads like you were going to get a Romero level zombie movie. And it's very much like an old time zombie movie, but weird. Paul Nashi has 3 different parts in it. It has also has like a very anti-guru kind of thing in it. It's a strange movie. Thanks, Thomas. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back. 2 Saturdays from now, 8 p.m. with those 2 shockers. Pretty excited for both those. We were watching Vengeance of the Zombie one day. I was watching it one day, and Becca came in. She said, "How have you not shown this on the show yet?" She's like, "This movie is nuts."
Well, yeah, it's not a flesh-eating zombie movie. It's like a voodoo zombie type movie, but through a Euro horror lens, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
I think, and especially because it's directed by Leon Klimovsky, director of many of Paul Nashi's films, including Werewolf versus the Vampire Women and Vampire's Night Orgy,
Yeah.
which was actually Vampire's Night Orgy was often shown with Count Dracula's Great Love
Mhm.
as Cemetery Girls and Grave Desires.
Yeah. There'll be
Which-
lots of ads for this episode.
oh yeah,
obviously.
there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot to see the next show we do.
Yeah.
Trust.
Which is exciting.
We
But I
give you
love
lo-fi thrills.
Bill always talks me out of some movies though. Like I'm like, what if? It's always like the worst bummy movies, and no, that will tune people out. So
No, it's not
I'm
that. I
joking.
just don't
I
want to
know.
do two movies like that on the same
Oh,
show.
I know. If we should do this is what we should do for everybody that's asking for a third movie. We should have like you and I should both do a pick at the end of every episode for a third movie that ties into it. That
Yes.
that feels like a nice compromise,
But we're
right?
not going to come back afterwards. And
No,
we're
but we
not
like
guaranteeing that we'll watch
yeah,
it.
if you were going to watch another movie after these two movies tonight, Bill, what would you pick?
Oh, you know, when I think about movies that I originally saw very, very late at night,
Mhm.
one of them is Secret of the Blue Room,
Mm.
which is a black and white Universal film, not often talked about. It's a murder mystery with horror overtones, starring Lionel Atwill and Gloria Stewart.
Mm. I like
And
Lionel
it's
Atwill a lot.
yeah, it was remade a couple of times, at least once, probably twice. And it's set. It's only like an hour long. It doesn't take up much of your time. It's got that Dracula feel to it,
Mm.
and don't expect anything near the level of Dracula. It's just sort of like sort of like a quickie that they filmed, but it's really interesting, and I think it's got some great imagery in it. It's fun. There are worse ways to spend an hour, especially late at night. If you don't want to watch a black and white movie, I would say watch a movie that I'm not sure if we've done this on the program. Did we ever do Brides of Blood,
No, we have not.
aka the Island of Living Horror,
Yeah.
which is what I saw it as when I first saw it on TV, like super late at night on WOR.
Ooh.
And I think it was like in the late 70s. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. And it's got an amazing story about radioactive plants that grow to gigantic proportions that they suddenly transform in the middle of the night into man-eating monsters. And there's one like werewolf type transformation that keeps happening, and one of the locals keeps turning into a tiki monster every night, and the natives are sacrificing their virginal daughters to this tiki monster every night. There's one of those lotteries. You would think, well, how many nights could this go on before
Oh,
everybody on the island was dead? It's a stellar late night movie, Brides of Blood, aka Island of Living Horror. So, Sam, what would you suggest?
I would suggest 1972's Beware My Brethren, aka The Fiend. Uh, it's a British movie about a woman who lets a church operate in her house, and her son has become so brainwashed by the church that he has become a serial killer. And he kills loose women and leaves their nude bodies for the cops to find. Uh, Also, his mother gets a new nurse. The priest that lives in their house hates modern medicine, so he doesn't allow her to take insulin. It's a movie that starts with a baptism cross cut against someone being drowned and strangled to death while naked. It's a British lunatic movie, which I do love British pre slasher quasi jolly movies. I have not seen Tender Dracula, but that's a one that I will watch. I also would recommend Dracula the Dirty Old Man, which is made by the same folks that made one of the same people that did Mummy and the Curse of the Jackals. It also has a were-jackal in it.
Dracula, the dirty old man. That's
Yeah,
dirty.
yeah. It's about a jackal man that has to find new blind female victims for Dracula. Shot in Vegas, just like Mummy and the Curse of the Jackals. I have a weakness for movies that are shot in Vegas and look really shoddy.
The Navy versus the Night Monsters. I love that movie, Vince Cornelius.
Oh yeah,
that's another movie about killer trees.
ooh,
Brides of Blood has Beverly Sills in it, or Beverly Hills rather, or aka Beverly Powers. I think she also went by, but she's in Invasion of the Bee Girls as well. She's the woman who's like, Stan, do I still excite you? Like first she's like putting on cold cream before she's a bee girl, and then after she's a bee girl, she turns all sexy, and then kills her husband. She's in Brides of Blood.
Eldon asks, what is the name of the movie where Joan Collins has a demonic baby? Which title would you like?
I Don't Want to Be Born.
I Don't Want to Be Born. That's the one I would go with for it. But it has so many titles.
But the one it's most commonly known as is its U.S. title. What is it? The Joan Collins Devil Baby movie.
I'm going to look it up for you. There are many titles.
The Devil Within Her.
The Devil Within Her is, yeah, the one
well, it's really confusing for me because The Devil Within Her was the title of Beyond the Door in the UK.
Yeah.
So it's really.
Why didn't I call it the name I always call it? Sharon's Baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Or
Sharon's
The Monster.
Baby.
Sharon's Baby. Yeah. Peter Sasdy, though, who I love him. He did some really good stuff.
Vince likes your Beware the Brethren pick.
Thank you. I like Peter Sasdy, though. I was going through his films, and there's a lot. He did Welcome to Blood City, which I really like. It's like kind of Westworld ripoff with Jack Palance in it. It's way better than it seems like it should be. He did the Stone Tape, the TV movie, Taste of Blood of Dracula, Countess Dracula, Hands of the Ripper. He did some good stuff.
Who said Granny and porn actress? Was that somebody in the chat?
Mike Justice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know what other? God, how can I forget the other important Peter Sasdy movie, Bill? The Lonely Lady. What am I even doing?
You're gonna have your card revoked from the Pia Zadora fan club.
Oh my God. Yeah. Pia Zadora's on the phone. She's like, Sam, what are you doing?
She's like, what the fuck, Sam?
Yeah.
I thought I could trust you.
Oh, he did Doom Watch. I forgot that, and Nothing But the Night, which I really like too. So yeah, Peter Sasdy.
You told me you love me, Sam. I'm Pia fucking Zadora.
Oh, I do love her. Why have you not shown Voyage of the Rock Aliens, Sam, on your show? You know it's out there. You know it's there. You know that I made it. You know that there's a Jermaine Jackson video at the beginning of it that doesn't make any sense why it's in it. Yeah, you're right. We should probably show that.
Do you think Jermaine Jackson was bitter
about that?
That he never had the career that Michael had. It seemed like he wanted it.
Yeah.
Janet eventually had a career that rivaled Michael's, but never Jermaine.
See, this is an argument Becca and I have because she says that Janet's better than Michael, but she was not. She was 0 years old when Thriller came
out. That's not true.
Yeah, she was born in 84.
Oh, okay. So I thought you meant Janet was 0.
No, Becca was. Yeah. So like she doesn't know what it was like when Thriller came out, where it was like the album, right? So it's easy to be like, well, yeah, Janet's better because
they were only 3 or 4 years apart.
Yeah,
like between Control and Thriller.
Yeah, but she was like 4 or 5 when Control came out, and Rhythm Nation's like a big record to her. So
it was over by Rhythm Nation, as far as I'm concerned.
I like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis a lot. I really like their production on stuff. Like, there's some really good songs on that.
I love their Human League album.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the whole thing?
I heard the whole thing, but I just remember I think I texted you about it. I'm like, I never knew that they did stuff with Human League. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, shit yeah. They gave Human League a #1, another #1. I mean, wow. Human League's done it. They're the band that keeps coming back. Like as soon as you think you'll never hear from the Human League again, boom, they have another hit song for some ungodly reason in the United States. And you know, whenever they did Crash, they didn't like working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and I guess that album just kind of like fell apart halfway through. But they gave him a #1 with Human.
I always thought it was weird when the Jacksons did that world tour where they have the victory video where they all become these
Yes.
giant like space gods at the end of it. It always just seemed kind of weird that they were all kind of glomming onto Michael. You know what I mean? Like it's
How could they ever hope to? Because I think at some point had I don't think Michael had toured for Thriller when he went out on tour with the Jacksons.
yeah, exactly.
I think that was the first time he was on stage after Thriller happened. I
And
could
it
be
didn't
wrong
last
about
too
that.
long because he got hurt doing the Pepsi commercial.
Right, yeah.
hmm It's it's so weird though because like Michael was like after Off the Wall, people loved him. That album was successful, but not like Thriller. Once he did that Motown 25 special and moonwalked on it, like that's all people could talk about was Michael back then. I just remember it was just
Yeah.
it was such a big deal. Plus he had that wild crossover because he used the Eddie Van Halen solo for Beat It. And just like he got played all over the place. I don't know. This is an argument, not a rough argument that we have, but I also said to my one friend today, I said, because there was a reggae band playing at Sandcastle and Becca was so excited. And she said, you guys don't like any of the same music, do you? I'm like, no, I always thought that it would be important that whoever I dated had to like the same music as me. And like, we agree on like maybe one band, two bands, maybe tops, like Ghost and like, I can't think of who else, like not that many. Um, and we've like kind of she's learned some of the music I like and she's like likes it now, but like you know we're like when you're 12 years apart there's like a lot of stuff where to her like Guns N' Roses is like an old band and it's like I grew up when they came out.
It's crazy, isn't
It
it?
is super crazy, yeah. So
God.
yeah, so like she'll always say, she's like, oh, this came out when I was in first grade. I'm like, oh cool, I was already divorced on my third job, so but it's weird because I just said on the podcast I often make fun of guys that only can date younger girls, and I'm like, what kind of guys are? And I'm like, oh wait, that's me. So I
That would be you.
yeah, but I'm super immature though, so that's how it works. Yeah, almost every girl
Right.
I dated after my divorce was always like at least 10 years younger. Oh well. Anyways, also podcast this week, uh, Hell of the Living Dead, Bruno Mattei's Dawn of the Dead remix that he was told make a Dawn of the Dead movie, but make it more fun. He did not listen.
Make it more
Uh,
what?
make it more fun.
Oh,
Make it not so sad. He did not succeed when he made that. That's up. And then, spoiler, I'll tell you guys because I love everybody that's still awake tonight. Next week, Bruno shot 3 movies in the Philippines, 4 movies in the Philippines, right before he died, the year he died, and one of them is a remake of Hell of the Living Dead, and that's all those movies. And you can watch all those. Visual Vengeance has all of them on Tubi right now. That's the next episode, and then I have 3 episodes left in the can, and then I'll be recording a couple more. This week is there's also a June Exploitation special episode that has I think 10 or 11 movies in it. Um, that's up on the site too, as well as my new AI voice of Carolyn DeFonseca that introduces some of the movies. So I have some AI voices that I'm using now. I have her, I have Bob from House by the Cemetery, and I have Helena Marcos. And the hard candy lady.
I forgot to use that. I'll use it
Yeah,
on the next show that we do.
yeah, Christine Forrest's voice from Dawn of the Dead. I have.
Attention shoppers.
You have a sweet tooth. It doesn't have. I have to get it to get more of the Yinzer accent. It doesn't completely have
Yeah.
the straight up.
It's just a little bit off.
Yeah, but I'm playing with it, so I have to train it on some more voices.
Well,
But
plus the AI voice doesn't sound like she's reading from cue cards either.
yeah, well, I can do it where I'm reading and the AI voice will base it off my voice, so that kind of sounds pretty good. So maybe I'll do that next time. But the Carolyn DeFonseca one sounds really. I trained it on a lot more stuff. I had like a ton of. I mostly used all her Olga lines from Suspiria, so it has a lot of like the way Olga sounds. So, but that's how it should sound. and a lot of Deep Red too. I used a lot of her voice in Deep Red for it. So it's fun. That's the only good use for AI I can think of, is to have Carolyn Diffenseca talk on my podcast.
All right. So thanks a lot for hanging out with us tonight. It was a blast. Thanks to Jennifer Ashley for being on the show. We really had a lot of fun talking to her and watching those two fantastic films, The Pom Pom Girls and Tintorera. Two very different films from the same era. And it was a blast.
Yeah, and thanks to Tim for sponsoring as well.
Yeah, thanks Tim Dorch for bringing this episode. It's 2 weeks until our next one. So if you want to make a donation, a small donation, $2, $3, $4, $5, that's all we're talking about. PayPal us at groovydoom@gmail.com, and you'll get your name and lights on the next program.
And I promise in 2 weeks, yes. Sorry.
Yes.
And I promise to shoot some footage from my Children of the Corn Odyssey next weekend. As we're going to tour some of the filming locations, as well as where the cornfield, and so hopefully have some stuff to share when I come back.
All right, so everyone have a great week, or 2 weeks rather. Hopefully I'll miss it next week. Everyone is going to be looking for something to do on next Saturday night, I guarantee it. Go watch Svengoolie, We Allow, just this once.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.